Hi, I'm Jewel Pearson, and this is my handmade home in Charlotte, North Carolina. I've lived in a tiny house for 7 years. I designed my home from graph paper and have expanded since that time and just adore my tiny house. Born in Brooklyn, didn't live there very long, but I love big buildings and mid-rises and moving traffic and people moving, and that's kind of where I feel like I get energy from. And I can honestly say I would not have been able to live in this area when I first started my tiny house journey because I was still so connected to needing that energy from the city. But over the course of 7 years, life changed, energy changed. So now being on a friend's farm is the piece that I didn't even really know I needed. So I was young, my early 20s, and the responsibility of motherhood, single motherhood. You know, at that point it was often balancing the checkbook to the penny. And I just knew that once I got her okay, I wanted to get to a point where I could decide, no, I'm going to just, buy this frivolously, not I've got to pay this bill and now we've got $20 left. Like I wanted to be in a where I've always felt like it was lighter. And I stumbled on a story of a woman who had built a tiny house, and it was her story of kind of rebuilding after divorce and losing things. And that wasn't my journey, but more resonated with me, like this is me, this is doing it for me, I'm starting over. And at that point I decided I'm building a tiny house. This was 2012, 2013-ish, and there wasn't a lot of information about tiny houses like there is now. The movement at that point was so focused on minimalism, and you don't build a house bigger than 18 feet, and there were like so many things about what a tiny house wasn't. But for me, it was my retirement plan. So I'm doing all the things. So this is the crown jewel, if I might say that. This is the original tiny house space. This is where the dream started. I knew I needed to have windows all around so that no matter where I put my house, that I'd have light coming in. A good sunrise and a sunset just like make my entire life. I've got a full-size bathroom. It's got a washer-dryer combo unit in it, a bathtub. And the funny thing is I don't use it as much as I imagined that I would. Most of the time that I use it, it's Nina getting a bath and not me. But yes, one of the important things for me, and it's one of the things that I say for people interested in tiny houses, make it your own. Make it include things that make home for you. So I have a beautiful floating staircase, and at the bottom of the staircase, there's a landing which can be used for seating. I don't have a lot of multi-function things in the house. The original flip-up desk that was in the corner in the nook, I've taken that out completely. A lot of tiny houses have storage where they'll put their clothes in the couch, and the couch lifts up and you get your clothes out. I didn't do a lot of multi-function. I wanted to think through so I wasn't moving stuff out of the way all the time and re-navigating the space, because I knew long-term that would get old for me. One overhead loft is my sleeping space, and then the other is kind of a plant nook chill space. And then coming through, pantry, storage, and then this is my kitchen, and I can cook, I just don't like to cook. So I didn't devote a lot of kitchen space, but I have a very functional kitchen. This is a microwave and a convection oven, so I can bake and do all of those things. 2-burner cooktop, and then back here is the closet. The original tiny house had a very small screened-in porch here and an overhead Juliet balcony. And so this is all new. It is built on a foundation, and this is dedicated office space, and then just having the living space and room for my plants. Really, it's a room that I built for my plants. So this is, original tiny house. This part that you see right here is original tiny house, and I didn't want to cover it up. I felt like it would be beautiful as part of the design. I don't know that I have a design style, like it's just kind of like by eye. I feel like the masks are part of who I am generationally, like the core of my existence. It's a connection, even though you don't, as a woman of color, Black woman, I don't really know my roots. That is something that I'm working on now, but it still feels like home for me. It feels like part of my connectedness to who I am, and I wanted all of that to be part of my home. So this was just like kind of the beautiful open space, and then I realized, oh, it's coyotes out here, so we need a little barrier. So that was the purpose of the screen. And I used like the polycarbonate overhead, so I still will have light in here. Right now it's my most favorite space. Maybe it's because it's the newest space. It's okay. So in my mind, you know, as I was thinking like the lighter lifestyle, I saw myself traveling. And I still thought I was building a tiny house space that I could travel with. And then when I bought the trailer and started building, I was like, what were you thinking? You can't travel with this. And so it is like home base. It's gonna stay stationary. It provides my lifestyle of freedom, but I still want to have the opportunity to travel with home. And so that's the travel trailer. It also has a bathroom, a shower, bathroom in it. So it's small enough that I can manage myself, but it's also big enough to be self-sufficient. So that's kind of my next project. It's all really budget driven, but I'm hoping that I can get it done by the end of this year. So advice for people who are thinking about getting into tiny house living. I think from the beginning, you need to really evaluate how you use your space, the things that you have to have in your space that are important to you. And I always say, you know, go from a list of must-have, nice to have, and the wish list. You've really got to know you and know yourself and the things that are gonna make you comfortable in that space. My initial parking space was in an RV park. And I was there from May to October. RV parks aren't always safe spaces for people of color, Black people, and I ran into some issues there. And so that kind of forced the move. And I've had that issue another time in a rural space. So it's kind of, where can you put a tiny house is one of the issues, and then there's the challenge of where can you put a tiny house as a Black person, as a person of color, that you have to think about safety. Unfortunate, but the reality. There's some statistics. I think it says the tiny house movement is either 97% or 95% white. And so a lot of my work in the movement is representation, showing Black people and people of color as part of the movement, talking to the concerns that you'll have as part of the movement, in addition to just the overall, where can I put a tiny house, but what does that look like for me? And then also, I think it became important for me early on to show tiny house living as a viable option versus people just thinking tiny house people were weird. The racism in conventional home buying, it's a known issue. You can look at cities and know exactly how the redlining was done because of the way people are located, the way highways are run. At the bottom of the list for home ownership, the percentages of Black people, it still remains year after year at the bottom of that list. The conversation around tiny houses is one of the things where it's an opportunity to get to home ownership quicker. It is an opportunity for wealth building, even if it's not the traditional equity in your home. Conversation that so many people say, you know, buying a conventional home allows you to build equity and a tiny house doesn't. But there's still the opportunity of, I own my home, and so that income that I would be using to pay for a mortgage, I can invest that, I can save that, and so there's a non-traditional opportunity for wealth building. And if we are challenging the status quo of housing with tiny houses, we should challenge the entire thing. The inequity. I want the people who have not had access to housing to be included in this conversation and to be at this table. That is kind of where I feel like what my work is.
If I had to describe my home in 3 words, I would say cultured, intentional, and welcoming. The first thing that I go for in making a space feel lived in and alive is plants. Like, every space needs a plant. I'm Carmion Hamilton, and this is my HGTV home tour in Memphis. My home was built in 1977. It is a contemporary ranch, I guess is what you'd call it. It's all 1 story, 3 beds, 2 bath, about 1,900 square feet. We moved in 2016 and haven't changed any bones about it. Our home buying process, I had a very rigorous list of must-haves. First thing was natural light. As you can tell, I'm quite a plant lover, and I wanted to make sure our house was adequate for all of the plants that I knew I wanted to bring in. And I also wanted an older home. So mid-century was what I was hoping for, somewhere in the 50s and 60s. This house was built in the 70s, but still fit the bill because it was all 1 story. When we walked in, it was just like love at first sight. One of the main reasons I picked this house because it didn't need anything structurally. Everything that we've done to it up until this point has just been cosmetic, literally just paint. And I'm a whiz with a paintbrush. I can knock it out, get it done myself. We knew we could take our time with any major renovations like the bathrooms because the main spaces only needed paint. So when you first walk into our home, you enter into the entryway, and this was the first project that I took on. The house was baby blue everywhere, and this was the first place I broke out the paint. So I painted the wall white. This is not the original front door. This is a new front door, but I painted the front door black. And I wanted so badly Kelly Wearstler's Graffito wallpaper, but could not afford it at the time. And decided I can do that. I just love that from wall to wall, corner to corner, ceiling everywhere, it's just this envelope of design interest. And so it's the first thing you see, which I love, and it's hand painted. So it's very much a welcome to my house. This piece of art, it's one of the only mass-produced pieces of art in my house. The furniture retailer that I worked for, it went on sale there. I was the buyer, so I picked it out and loved it. And when it went on sale, I was like, I have to take it home with me. I always tell people your art doesn't have to match your house. Your art just has to match you. All right, let's go to the office. Our living area / my office is my favorite place in the house. I pat myself on the back in this room. This room is the most intentionally designed room in the house. This room was designed for me to be able to work, whether I'm working on design projects or content. It's also equipped to work with a team, my full team, and it's also where I can entertain. So I wanted this room to offer multiple purposes, and it does just that. As a designer, no matter how functional, I have to design a space. It has to be pretty. I just love having all these various textures and patterns that just inspire me on a day-to-day basis. These windows are what sold me on the house. It's superpowers for when I'm here working. It's just a source of energy because natural light is truly important for where you're working, and I love that I get all of it. So on this side of the office, it's still all about function, but a little bit more pretty. I found this vintage credenza on Craigslist. It's another vintage piece by Lane. It is one of the Brutalist line pieces, and it's my favorite era of furniture. This was my first grown-up piece of art that I purchased. The artist is Lauren Pierce. This portrait is a culmination of everything I love about art. It's a portrait, it's a face that looks like mine. It's a little bit abstract. It has a story in the eyes, and you just keep staring into it because you want to know who this is and what they're about. The other piece is actually a photograph of me on my wedding day. The most important thing about this piece is it's actually covering a pass-through between this room and the kitchen. So your eye, as you come into the room, you start here at the Monstera, but you end up here at this very interesting plant. But on your journey, there's some DIY artwork, some of my favorite books, and then things that just add interest and height. So as much as I loved the open concept of our living office space, I had always loved the idea of a very intentional divider. And I got to a point where my plant babies had kind of exploded and I needed additional shelving to display them. So I designed this shelving unit that I had custom made by a welder here in Memphis, a friend of mine. It is floor to beam. The beams in this room are architectural, but they're actually, fun fact, the ducts for my HVAC system. A friend of mine, her daughter makes these random characters, and she had a little pop-up shop, and I just bought something to support her. So this little dog that's watching TV is what sits here. I have friends that have sent me special gifts like lizards that have a very special meaning to me. And continuing with the plant theme, I have here my little plant nursery or plant emergency room. I do have a few plants that sometimes need a little bit more care. I have my Soul Tech pendant light here, which is a light that is scientifically engineered to give the proper sun rays or UV lighting that plants need to generate photosynthesis. So we are now in the living room area. This side of the room is intended to feel a lot more cozy than the office side of the room. So I decided to stop the black color at the top of the paneling, and that gave me an opportunity to extend our fireplace to the ceiling. Once I landed on the placement of the black, it gave me a foundation for a gallery wall. And yes, gallery walls are in, they're never going anywhere. It's not even a trend anymore, it's a classic. These three pieces at the top are actually one of the last handwritten notes my mother wrote to me. I just love that I have a piece of her here in the living room. This piece was the very first piece of an African textile that I ever purchased. It is Kuba cloth, so I had it custom mounted and included it in the gallery. The star of this entire wall is the very first vintage furniture that I've ever purchased. My first time walking into a vintage shop, and I found this Broyhill Brasilia 9-drawer dresser for $200. So my coffee table is another place where I love to personalize things. What's featured here are my collection of calligraphy brushes, but also you'll notice there's no remotes, nothing, anything like that. I always encourage everyone, get a vessel, something with the lid. I would show you what's in there, but it looks like it's crazy. So our wet bar was such an eyesore when we moved in. So I painted the base cabinets black to match the cabinets in the kitchen, and this entire little alcove went black to mimic what was happening on the living room side of the room. I had the grand opportunity to create a series with HGTV, Crafts and Cocktails, and one of our crafts was this faux antique mirroring. So this isn't real mirror, it's just plexiglass that we spray painted and got this effect. And I love the idea of being able to use that as a backsplash to the wet bar. I love incorporating plants onto shelves because that's what they do in any environment. They will take a space that feels very still, inanimate, and give it life and color. The Monstera plant is my favorite plant, but this is the very first Monstera that I bought. And this plant has birthed every other Monstera plant in my house. It keeps this special positioning in the house because it's the mother, just like me. Our kitchen. Our kitchen is a tiny little workhorse. As someone who cooks out of necessity and not necessarily for fun, I love that we are not wasting a ton of square footage of our entire home on kitchen space. Transforming this kitchen, when we moved in, everything was wood. Wood floor, wood cabinets, laminate, wood-looking countertops. The first thing I did in this space was paint the cabinets. These are walnut butcher block countertops, and they just feel so rich in this space, especially in the black and white color scheme. Our backsplash tile, I turned them to look like the letter H because of my last name, Hamilton. So our kitchen feels very personalized because that's one of the first things people notice when they come into this space. After living in our kitchen for several years, we got the opportunity to literally raise the roof. These are fresh air skylights, so I can open them when I'm cooking, or I can open them on a breezy day. And to let fresh air in or let smoke out, and it's just perfect for a kitchen. The mural in the dining room, it's such a simple design, but 3 is my favorite number. It always represented me and my husband and my son. So many people were just blown away at how easy it was, and it's actually been mass repeated. So many people have repeated it in their own homes. That is probably my proudest, but like the easiest mural I've taken on to date. So this is the primary bedroom. This is my sanctuary when I'm not in the living room, of course. I got to design this room during the one room challenge. This room was the first room to get actual hammer and nails and demo and things like that. When we first moved into our home, there was just a tiny window behind where the mirror is, and it was just so dark. I knew that that one window just wasn't enough for me as a lover of natural light. I said this would be the perfect place to utilize an option of French doors. Before the deck or anything in our backyard was done, even started, we put these French doors in. Now, this textured wall, these slatted walls, have been popular for a very long time. I wanted to be able to feature this texture, but as a piece of art. I love a good, luscious bed. I love linen, and I love a bed with lots of layers, no matter what season it is. So I go with linen because it's great for summer or winter. I wanted something that would add height the way a plant would, and I got the idea of a mobile. There were 3 wall hangings. They were just flat wall hangings, and I decided to take them apart and use those pieces as a mobile. The shapes were reminiscent of the same shapes in the artwork, and I'm like, I can work with this. So our guest bedroom, I absolutely love it now, but it's lived a couple lives since we've been here. This is the Kelly Wearstler Graffito design. I love this bed so much, I'll probably never get rid of it. But I took the opportunity to wash the walls, the trim, the doors, everything in this room in this chipotle color. The 2 pendant lights on either side of the bed look like clouds. This added layer, the lighting is just warm. I mean, this room is just super cozy for any guest that will stay here. Our hallway bathroom was the final frontier of renovations for our entire home, and I feel like I saved the best for last. This bathroom probably embodies my design aesthetic the most. The combination of the wallpaper and the walnut vanity and the black, very modern but textured mirror. All of these elements combined really speak to who I am as a designer. The piece de resistance in here is the huge 4x4 skylight. Natural light in bathrooms is like the holy grail. Just having light where you can see your face if you're putting on makeup or whatever it is, it's a go-to. I love that it's flooded with natural light, so you really get to experience all the textures in the space. Every home needs something functional, something that feels personal or collected, and a plant. That combination is a go-to for every space, every styled object, everything. Our environments dictate so much about how we feel and how we behave and how we interact with people. I wholeheartedly believe that a successful design has to reflect the people that use the space. That space isn't done until the people that use it are connected with it in some way.
Well, hello, darling. I'm Christopher, aka Plant Queen, and this is my handmade home in Brooklyn, darling. Basically, Plant Queen is a journey where I express myself as a non-binary femme and explore the wonders of plant parenthood. So my profession, I'm an educator, so Plant Queen is about providing opportunities for folks to learn about the wonders and beauty that is indoor gardening. I got into plants with my grandmother. She was really into gardening, and it was a space for her to create moments of joy and healing. And so when I was younger, she would take me to some of her favorite nurseries in Philadelphia, and it was a magical experience, especially as like a little baby queen, you know, looking at this luscious, magical jungle of a nursery. And so she would let me pick some of the plants that she would take home, and whenever I was over her house, she would remind me to water them. And so at a very young age, my grandmother was nurturing the nurture in me. And so about 5 years ago, I went out and bought my very first plant. It's a Marble Queen Pothos. She was struggling, and I made a promise to myself that if I could take care of this plant, then I had something on my hands. And so 5 years later, she's 9 feet long. I've propagated her multiple times, so she's all over the apartment. And she has over 200 sisters. I like to describe my apartment as maximalist when it comes to plants and minimalist when it comes to decor. So I like the decor to be like very spaced out. I love blank walls. I like blank spaces. People may find it weird, but it's I don't know. I think it's like a plant parent thing. But whenever I step into a space, I whip out my phone and I pull out the Compass app, and I'm like, oh, what direction are the windows facing? And so that was like the first thing I did when I got in here, and I was like, south-facing windows? Not 1, but 5 south-facing windows? Oh yes. I was like, let's go. Deposit already in, application sent. Am I approved? Let's go. One of the first things that I did when I got the keys was that I came here, I cleaned the space, I cleansed the space, and I ordered food, and I sat on the floor, and I watched the sun move throughout the space. It was so peaceful, so calming. I had a little playlist playing. I was like in a very zen mood. And as the sun moved throughout the space throughout the day, I marked those particular spots. And I was like, oh, this would be good for this particular plant. The sun is here for this amount of time. And so that was like the very first thing that I did. I just wanted to get a better grasp of the environment that I was bringing my plants into. All right, darlings, so we are currently in my little plant nook, and I have about 90 green girls in this particular space. And the very first thing that I did when I got this apartment was install the shelves. If you know anything about moving into spaces in Brooklyn, going vertical is the way to go because we just don't have a lot of floor space. So 9 times out of 10, giving your plant too much sunlight will cause sunburn. And so because I get direct light, I have sheer curtains on the curtain rod to kind of filter out some of that light so the plants aren't getting that harsh sun rays, but are getting filtered bright light. So that's always the way to go, especially if you have south-facing windows. And so, one of my prized possessions is Miss Monstera Deliciosa, this queen right here. She's a bit of a diva. She's taking up a lot of space, but she's absolutely beautiful. And I actually started this queen. It started with this one little leaf right here. So I bought this queen in downtown Manhattan in Chinatown, and she was sitting in a vase, and they were rooting her in water. And I was like, let me see if I can get this queen to grow. And so I brought the queen home. She struggled for a bit. I didn't know if she was gonna make it. And I just allowed her roots to mature in the water. And I think it's been almost 4 years now. And she's grown into this amazing vine. So Miss Monstera Deliciosa is native to the tropical rainforest of Central America. And if you notice, she has these beautiful roots that are growing. And so these are aerial roots. And we have to remember that the green girls that we bring into our spaces are just small little miniature versions of their majestic selves in the wild. And so this queen is actually a vine, a very, very large vine. And you can kind of get that feel as you're looking at this particular queen. And so if she was in the wild, she would be growing up a surface, whether that's a tree trunk or a wall, and these roots would be anchored into that surface. She's not doing that right now because I don't have the space just yet, but I will be applying a moss pole to this queen sometime soon so that it mimics the natural environment and habitat that she would grow in the wild. I use that space as an opportunity to just lose myself in my little indoor jungle. And so sometimes when I'm having like a very stressful day or I just need to take a break from technology, we all need a break from technology at this point, I'll literally just go in there, no technology, close the door, and kind of just either engage in like some pruning, may identify some vines that I want to propagate. And so using mindful gardening as a opportunity to engage in meditation, right? Because meditation could look so many different ways. It doesn't have to be you just sitting there with your legs crossed. It could be like whatever you need to do in order to be fully present in your body. And gardening sometimes allows me to do that. Darling, sometimes our green girls need a little haircut, and that comes in the form of pruning. And so what you'll find is that yellowing leaves like these, or browning leaves, basically decaying leaves, are more likely to attract pests. And so the best thing to do to keep your green girl serving those lush looks is to give her a little trim. Okay, girl, so we are now in my little corner of my living room, and this is basically where I get a lot of my work done. This is my little makeshift office space. I have some random little instruments. I believe the saxophone is such a sexy and beautiful instrument. I do not know how to play it, but I appreciate it from afar. I put it on my playlist, little saxophone instrumental moment. We have some snake plants here. We have this snake plant, and then we also have this one over here. This snake plant is one of my favorite plants because they're so easy to care for. They're adaptable when it comes to different lighting situations, and they're wonderful air purifiers. And so always gotta have a little bit of the snake plant in the area. And so these are, some of the green girls that keep me company when I'm working. And I tend to have a plant buddy of the day where I'll, place that plant on my desk and kind of just use it as an opportunity to inspect the leaves and escape the screens. And so it's a little practice that I do to help me stay grounded and rooted. So I love my bathroom, and the reason that, I was particularly drawn to this bathroom was because it had a window. So a south-facing bathroom window, yes God, everything. I enjoy when there's like a creative element to how the plant is existing. And so in my bathroom, I have a staghorn fern. And I have a complicated relationship with ferns, and I feel like a lot of plant parents do. People say that they're picky. I don't think they're picky. I think they just know what they enjoy. And they're like, girl, if you're not giving it to me, I'm not gonna thrive, right? And so, ferns really, really enjoy moisture, humidity. If you give them too much sun, their leaves will burn. So they're delicate queens, but if you give them what they need, they grow so beautifully. And so the staghorn fern is a much hardier fern, more resilient. And so I have a staghorn fern in my bathroom that's growing out of a coconut shell. And I have had that plant for about 4 years now. And she's had her ups and downs, but I think I found like the perfect spot for her in the bathroom where she gets filtered bright light and she gets a lot of humidity and moisture. And so she's just been thriving. I also have a staghorn fern in my bedroom that's mounted on wood. And so it's literally like a piece of living art, which I'm just like, yes, if I can incorporate that to my space, lovely. All plants are works of art. She's gorgeous, she's sturdy, she's resilient, and one of my favorite green girls in my bedroom. Well, honey, welcome to the bedroom. This was one of the last spaces that I greened up, and I wanted to do so intentionally and really piece it together and not rush the process. And so some of my favorite aspects of the bedroom has to be this green girl right here. She is the Monstera albo variegata. She has these beautiful little white variegations on her leaves, and she's a hot ticket right now because she grows very slowly. And that has to do partly because of her anatomy and that some of her leaves lack chlorophyll. So she's just a little slower when it comes to growing, which also means that growers in nurseries have to wait some time for them to grow and mature. So she's a hot ticket. I actually got her for $50 back in the day, about maybe 3-4 years ago. You could not find her for that price, but she's mine. I love her and she's adorable. I really enjoy gold trimmings. I don't know why, but I really do. And so I have these cute little gold shelves. I have the books on the floor and I have the plants on the shelves. This shelf right here actually was a mistake. As I was putting the shelves on the wall, the second one slid down to like this slanted position. And I was like, oh, this actually looks pretty cute and different. And so I kind of kept it that way. And then on the other side of my bedroom, I have a little collection of cacti. When I first began my journey, I stayed away from cacti. I was like, oh, they're rough, I don't know if I want to get into them. And then the more and more I study cacti, I realized how delicate, intricate, and really beautiful they are. And so these are a variety of different cacti. You have the spiral cactus right there. You have the prickly pear cactus right here. And these queens are, green girls that are really resilient and actually don't really need a lot of care. They just need a good amount of sunlight, and that you make sure you check the moisture of their soil because you want to make sure that they dry out completely. I think of my plants as like my girlfriend. They are beings that allow an opportunity for introspection, for self-care, for reflection. And I think it's always good to have a good group of girlfriends to remind you to care for yourself. And I feel like that's what my plants really do for me. And so, when I'm watering my plants, I'm like, am I drinking enough water? If I'm like figuring out, are they getting enough sunlight? Did I let sunlight touch my body today, right? And then when I'm like, making sure they have the nutrients that they need to grow, I'm like, well, did I give myself, my body being in soul, the nutrients I need to continue to spread my roots? So my green girls, are a constant reminder of the various different ways that I need to constantly engage in caring for myself.
Hi, my name is Julian, and this is my handmade home in Brooklyn, New York. It's funny, growing up in the suburbs, my mom and my dad, they would always sit and watch HGTV. My parents are the ones who inspired me to really embrace the DIY stuff. There's no specific roles growing up in my parents' household. Everybody did something, whether it was the dishes, laundry, taking out the trash, nobody had a set job. And so I embraced that as I got older, because a lot of guys are a little iffy about making their space look nice, and I was taught you need to make your home your home. I had an interest in DIY from a very young age, but then at the same time, I really had an interest for entertainment and media and just being in front of the camera and having that personality. When I walked in here, it was all white. It was truly a blank canvas. Here, do what you want. And I'm like, word. So that's where you see the stencil work that I did, all hand painted, which I'm very proud of, only because I am not an artist. I do not consider myself a designer, an artist at all, and I really just took my time. So obviously I started off with a primer just to really have a nice clean base to work with, and then I just took some black paint and a somewhat dry, hard bristle brush. Just took my time and just went one by one, and I'm very happy with the shapes. I knew that I needed something right here because I, installed this bar cart after I did, the stencil and everything. And this was like so much, this space just seemed like so empty. So I found this mirror online, and there is a color. I actually learned about it from HGTV online a while ago. It's called paint blue, right? And in the South, especially on the East Coast of Georgia and South Carolina, the Gullah Geechee culture, they paint their porches a baby blue. So I felt like adding a paint blue to a cloud mirror kind of paid homage to my Southern roots a little bit. I always thought of myself as a plant guy, but in reality, I am not. I will buy a plant and 3 to 6 months later, it's no longer with us, and I'll just end up with empty vases in plant pots. So that's what's happening over here. I've never been a figurine kind of guy. My mom collects tons of porcelain, not porcelain babies, but different porcelain figurines, and that's really never been my thing. And as I've gotten older, I'm like, I have 6 of these pieces. When did this happen? It's over the years, they just they literally collect.
How is it living by the train?
I love it. Yeah, it's almost like white noise to me. I can fall asleep with ease. My mom, she's really big on rugs. It's rugs everywhere. She invests in rugs. And, I remember having so many restrictions in the house growing up about oh, don't step on that rug. Oh, don't go in that room with that rug. And so once I, got my own place, I'm I'm kind of over rugs, But then I did realize one, they do add a pop of color, especially when when everything is white. It is a really good way to kind of add some depth, texture, and color to your space, but also it does serve a function. Rugs and any kind of textiles, honestly, will just help dampen the sound like that. Again, when you don't want it to come, it will just keep going. This is a bachelor pad and therefore a bachelor kitchen. This is all for show. I think the moment where I really started to get serious about just creating, DIY videos and just really trying to experiment was in the kitchen. And that was with this backsplash. They always recommend the peel and stick tiles, and I'm like, that's little kid stuff. I want the real deal. So I decided to actually, get some mortar and just slap it on the wall and tile a backsplash. But this was my first time doing that, and it was my last time doing it too. I'm not doing that again. It did not turn out as well as I thought. However, it turned out not bad for my first time. All right, so I'm really, really embarrassed about this. I'm sure my parents are gonna see it and be like, oh dude, we taught you better than that, Some frozen fruit mostly for smoothies I had every intention to make. I just never got around to it. Some eggs, some water, some old hummus, some oat milk, and 1 yogurt. The bachelor diet, It's bad. I have a weird style, I have an eclectic taste in pop culture and interest, but also culture specific to Brooklyn. So again, that's where you have lyrics from Lil' Kim and pictures of Jay-Z and Diddy, and obviously Biggie up there. I would recommend for everyone, if they want to do a gallery wall, is to start off with an anchor piece. Whether that is a frame or a clock. In the instance for my gallery wall, it was a picture ledge. I didn't want to just slap some frames on the wall. I wanted to add some depth to it. I wanted to be able to show off my personality to it. So I started off with the picture ledge, and then because this wall goes up to my room, I knew that I could throw a mirror up there on top of my dresser. So I knew that the dresser would be an anchor, the mirror would be an anchor, and then to meet it halfway from the top to bottom, the clock. Unlike downstairs where I was able to kind of have some fun with it and be creative, I kept it very symmetrical, not just in terms of the frames and the layout, but also the color palette. I think it all flows really well. Fun fact, this apartment actually used to be a retail store. And then my landlord bought it in like the 80s or 90s and converted it all into like residential like lofts. So there is no built-in closet space in pretty much any apartment, but especially this one, hell, there's not even really full walls. Which is why I had to create a partition wall. I felt quite uncomfortable having like an open wall in my bedroom. I wanted a little bit more privacy, and I was quite intimidated with this DIY. I just knew it required a lot of measuring and a lot of cutting, and that's just something I wasn't familiar with. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than what it was, and I am very proud of how it came out, especially with these like little cutouts where I can put plants in it. My work is very creative, from writing campaigns and pitches, but also to like making videos for social. And I just really needed a space that allowed me to create, despite this being like my office and serving a purpose for work and creativity. I really wanted my personality to come through somehow, my playfulness to come through somehow. And I figured, why not throw a big cat on the wall? When I moved in here, the bathroom was horrible. It was very pink, very retro. I couldn't even tell you what decade it came from, but it was nasty. So everything in my bathroom, right down to the paint, right down to the floor, to the hardware I installed. Like, I installed a faucet. I've never done that before. I decided to keep the pink tile because it just would have been too much to paint over. Also, I'm realizing like pink tile is like, it's kind of a rarity. There's a whole community online dedicated to preserving pink tiled bathrooms. However, I did decide to, add some depth to it by, incorporating some black accents and hardware. I even spray painted my shower matte black. And then I added another gallery wall, because that's clearly my thing. That's my signature. And I found out that you could actually paint floor tile, and there are kits out there available to allow you to do that. It's just very important that you follow the steps and follow the instructions exactly. And as mentioned, I've been doing DIYs for a while now, and that is the one thing that I have learned. And I am a very impatient person. I would always cut corners, but now I'm at a point where I know not to do that. And it paid off, because I am very proud of the floor and the way it turned out.
HGTV, I thought that was you out here. Listen, come in out of this heat and let's tour my home. Hey y'all, my name is David Quarles, interior designer and content creator from Memphis, Tennessee. Welcome to my home, but first of all, welcome to my living room. This is the first room that you get into when you come into my house, and I want people to feel comfortable. I want people to feel safe. I want people to feel like they can let their hair down and, tell me all their secrets. First things first, the natural light. This is kind of the room that greets me in the morning, and as you can see right now, it's beautiful. One thing I think every home needs are plants. It's a way to have some extra life in the space other than you. It helps you with the air quality, and they get a little architectural, they get beautiful, and every place should have plants, always. The level of comfort that I want people to feel is kind of captured in this reading nook. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I have books there. I sit in that area. I don't read much because I end up falling asleep, but it's comfortable for other people to sit there and read. Speaking of getting the party started, we have a lot of space to cover and not that much time, so let's head on over to the dining room. I prefer distinct rooms because I like to design for different portals. And so I want you to feel one set of emotions in the living room, very light, very cheery, but as soon as you walk into the dining room, I want you to feel as if you've walked into like your favorite restaurant, but the back room where you tell all the things, like where you have to lean in and have some conversations. Let's start our first things first with this light. So I think y'all know that I love disco balls, but I couldn't hang one and it'd be, well, I could have, but that's different. But anyway, I like this light. It's a capiche shell chandelier, and it kind of feels like a disco ball, which actually leads to my dance floor. I wanted to put a little bit of old world feel back into this home because it was just, concrete floors before, and that felt too cold. And so I wanted to put a classic black and white checkerboard, and it also doubles as a dance floor. The proudest DIY moment in my home is actually this mural that's right behind me. This wall behind me was painted, well, by me, I painted it. And it was a very special moment to where I was like stressing out. There was a health event that happened in my family, and that was my way of relieving myself of some of the stress. I put the love into the walls. And so I actually painted this entire wall, but then in this iteration of the dining room, I wanted to put the wallpaper up, and I was like, I can't just let that go. I actually got someone to cut out the mural, so then the memory of that moment stays, and I got it framed, and now it lives on top of the wallpaper that is also a dedication to my grandmother, Ruth. Now y'all, I was actually getting ready to make you a coffee, but I thought I want to show you the bathroom first. It's one of the newly renovated spaces, and y'all, it's beautiful. Come on. So y'all, welcome to the bathroom, or as I affectionately call it, Le Bon Four. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right in French. The overall inspiration for this design was a mid-century modern boutique hotel set anywhere between like Paris and Italy. And so I wanted it to feel very moody, to where you could get ready and like it'd be a mood, or you know, like just a nice little vibe, but then also speak to the architectural details that were present during the mid-century modern era and in those two spaces. What is my favorite spot in this space? Y'all, we're actually sitting in it. So I've always wanted a soaking tub, but I never thought my bathroom was big enough for it. But we found the perfect one, and it now serves as the best space for me to like bathe by moonlight, like a little bubble bath action. Oh, so good. Although there are a lot of different details in here, randomly enough, I like the soap dish that's here. And so really leaning into that boutique hotel feel, like where the details really matter. And you'll see there's a lot of polished brass in here that'll patina naturally over time. But this soap dish has like a little cup holder on top that I like to use to put flowers. And so it's like an extra little space to like put a little happiness in the space. All right, so now we have made it to the kitchen part of the tour, y'all. And honestly, I know I said it about the last space, but this is my favorite just because I consider this where we have fun. So one thing, I wanted this kitchen to feel like eternal spring. Here in the city, it gets very drab in like the fall and winter, and I'm a summer baby. So through the colors and through the textures, I wanted it to be reflective of spring and summer. So that's why when you look at the floors are yellow to represent the sun, and then the green on the walls is to represent the green of the foliage that happens in spring and summer. This is also where we cook our meals, we have a good time, I dance, and I honestly get a chance to communicate my love language, which is food and cooking for others in this space. So now that we both have our coffees, let's check out some other spaces in the house because y'all, we have so much more to go and I can't wait to show you. Come on. Believe it or not, I just woke up from the best nap. So welcome to my bedroom, y'all. I'm super excited about this one because like we just finished this one up, but I believe again in those distinct rooms, not an open concept. I want to also transport you into a different world, and that's kind of what happened in this room. So I've not been to Morocco just yet. However, it was very much the inspiration here. So this mural, it's from Bellart Studio, and it further communicates like that stepping into another world, and it just, I don't know, it feels like I like took a chunk out of an old building and then placed mural here. on a recent trip to Puerto Rico, there is a gallery that I've always wanted to shop from, and it's called Exodus. And I got some pieces that kind of speak to my heritage, but then as well kind of speak to the surrealism of it all. And so there's a painting here. She's beautiful, kind of looks like one of my ancestors, and I want all of my art to represent me in a way, if not by who I am, by what my ideology is. So y'all, listen, if I stay in this room any longer, I'm gonna fall back asleep. So let's go to the sunroom so I can show it to you. So now we've moved everything to the sunroom. And so this is the space where I'll either start the day or end the night. I come in the mornings to kind of collect my thoughts. I will be here with a little light jazz playing, and I just kind of get all of my thoughts out. And so for the end of the night though, I will come here with like a nice little libation, get a little wine, and I sit here and think about the day, the wins, the lessons, and how I can make tomorrow better. Some of my favorite things about this space are, well, again, all of the windows, because all of my plants live here and they need all of the light. And so I'm sitting right under here. So it's Felicidad. This is my fiddle leaf fig. She has traveled all around my home and she found that she likes it here. And so I rarely move her because if not, she'll drop a leaf. I told you about my love of disco balls, but this is one that's kind of traveled with me for so long, and it's about, what, 25 inches? And so it adds a bit of joy, and in the golden hour, it sends nice little light flares throughout the space. So for me, this feels very much like the lounge of the house. This is kind of like the speakeasy where we kind of gather and, you know, kind of just shoot the breeze, but we have our grown talk here. So y'all, that's the sunroom, and now we're gonna go and check out the outdoor spaces, but I need to hurry up and get out there because I've got two special guests. Come with me. What's up, y'all?
What's up?
When did you get here? Let me get it. Move on in. So y'all, welcome to my second favorite DIY moment here in my home, and it's the deck, or like I like to say, the lounge 4. And so this is something that me and my dad built together, and honestly, it was super fun when we did it, but it was meant to feel like an extension of the home, bringing a little bit of the indoors, outdoors. There's small little details like the ledge where you can place your drinks on, and I think what's special about this space is that it's built under a tree, so it has its little privacy, and with the lights up at night, there's like little fairy lights here, so I love it out here. Am I including all the details?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. It's honestly my favorite outdoor space to be in. Let me tell you, plenty of naps have been taken here. It's in the perfect little corner in the lounge and my favorite spot here. There's a nice space to eat on this side, and then that's kind of like where you get bottle service. It's the fun place for the VIP, for family. All right, so y'all, now let's go to the final outdoor space, which just happens to be another one of my favorite places in my home. So you wanna go and see it? I'm gonna tell you what it is, I gotta show you. So y'all, welcome to my actual favorite outdoor space. Come on in, come on. Ooh, wait a minute, shoes off in here too now. There we go. It's kind of like my place that I can come and like have my moment to myself. If I'm having a stressful day, I come in here when it's cooler and just sit, collect my thoughts. It's another thing that me and my dad built together. So it's another curated space that was built by family, and it feels just very meaningful because my mom is also the person who taught me to love plants. There is a disco ball here, so my love for disco balls will always follow around. I can come out, dance, party, and again, I like that when the sun hits it just right, it sends all of those nice little light glimmers around. Even at nighttime, it's a nice little vibe because I have lights in here and I can actually see the moon kind of pass by. What made me buy this house was basically its potential. It was beautiful as is, but it lacked a lot of personality. But it was perfect for me to be able to envision and see, you know what, I'm gonna place this here, this is gonna become this. I could add my personality and how I basically envision my life and how I plan to build it, and this seemed like the perfect canvas to do it. That was my home tour. HGTV, thank you so much for stopping by. Now it's time for me to go inside because it's nap time. See you.
Hello HGTV, I'm Renee Daniela. Welcome to my home in Los Angeles. Come on in. Welcome to my living room. This is the first space that I decorated in my home. And I really went with an inspiration around making my entire home feel like a garden in bloom. So you've got this massive mural. It has all these vibrant, bright colors. I think it's something you wouldn't actually expect, but it's nice because I think it sets the tone. So I put the mural in and then we did the lavender lime wash. The mural came first, but I already knew that the overall energy of this space was going to be feminine and girly and have all these beautiful pink and purple tones. My social media platform is called Owned by Femme, and the name really stems from the idea of you owning your femininity, owning who you are, defining it however you want. That for me became a guiding theme like throughout the entire decor process for this house. And I will say the previous owners had already planted some beautiful bushes outside, and that color really inspired kind of the tiles that I use outside. So lavender's in there and cream. I wanted it to be a reflection of my travels. I wanted you to feel like you do see different parts of the world throughout the space. And I had so much fun, layer by layer, bringing this space to life. Lots of different textures, velvet, travertine, and I have loads of plants. I also think there's an element of nature that can inspire your creativity, that can inspire you to feel kind of more connected, more grounded. And so I wanted to bring that external factor into the house. I really wanted people to come in here and just feel like they might be sitting in a garden. And it is just this like gentle, warm, welcoming space so that as people approach my house, I feel like they already get a hint that this house is gonna have some color, it's gonna be feminine, and it's gonna be soft and welcoming. Okay, and one of my favorite things about the living room is it opens up right into my dining and kitchen space. So let's start with the dining space because my mum and I actually built this pink dining breakfast nook from scratch. I'm not gonna lie, I have laid across this bench and taken a little nap on the odd occasion. It's that comforting. It has that like sentimental value and something that I will cherish for absolute ever. I think it pulled the space together so much. And I am so in love with how it turned out. From the dining space, you have a beautiful view of my kitchen. And I will say it is kind of a spectacular one, mostly because of this Calicut Viola countertop. It's actually beautifully done. Calicut Viola print porcelain, the elegance of Calicut Viola, but without the price tag. And I just think it looks really beautiful in this space. And this was actually inspired by the purple cabinetry. It is one of the most random colors, and I think it is really a surprise for people, and I think it's not a common kitchen color. But for me, again, I love purples, I love lavenders. It adds a level of elegance and class to this kitchen space that I really love. One of my favorite features of the kitchen was that it has these open shelvings. It gave me an opportunity to turn it into display, and I can display cute things that I've picked up around the world, and it is such an eye catch. It's just a beautiful, elegant moment. So I think that's enough of the living, kitchen, and dining space. Let me take you to my latest room that I just finished, my bedroom. And right in here, this is my bedroom space. So when I tell you I just finished this room, I mean quite literally. Last night, before you all joined me, my painter was removing his painter's tape. I was breaking a nail, putting my mattress back in this room. And so it was actually a good push that you guys were coming. And I am so enamored with how it came out. I absolutely am obsessed. Again, it's a lime wash paint. And if you see the trend throughout the rest of the house, every room is lime wash. I think it has this really like chic and luxurious, moody and mysterious vibe. It's absolutely somewhere where I can come and unwind. I love it so much. Again, like every room, there are a lot of textures. This was the fourth mural I purchased because the living room was the first one. They are their own like moment within each room. And I think it really was the catalyst to like elevate my overall decor in this house. Look at that texture. Absolutely fabulous. Unless you touch it, you don't really get the full effect of just how beautiful, magical, and fun it is. It gives like kind of a romantic and just beautiful feel. So they make such a statement. A bunch of different textures, a bit of nature, a bit of travel, a bit of whimsical. I love how it all ties together, very moody and very me. All right, let me bring you into my primary bathroom, which I also call my little oasis. It is absolutely beautiful and one of my favorite spaces in the house because this clawfoot tub, it is all of my dreams into one little item, one little space. It is my favorite place to rest and relax. And if you look up when sitting in the tub, you see a skylight. And I remember one of my first nights when I moved in, it was like a full moon right above the skylight. And I looked up and it was there. And it was just one of those beautiful confirmations of like, yeah, this was meant for me. But what I added was the leaf wallpaper. It's like this great textural outdoor element. And then of course, the lime wash. Room after room, mural and a lime wash combo. It works every time. One of the things that I wanted you to feel when you were in this room was kind of like a spa, but maybe like you were in Morocco or Mexico or somewhere else. So I love the texture of the lime wash because I feel like it adds that clay and outdoorsy. And then I also love the color tone. You do just feel like it's kind of warming and welcoming and relaxing. Again, it is like my oasis. So when I pour up my bubble bath, which is a ritual, right? I'm putting in the bath salts, rose petals, I'm lighting all my candles, and then I'm putting on one of my favorite shows. I'm definitely having some snacks as well, maybe some fruit, maybe a glass of wine. Because yeah, this is my space to unwind, relax, and live exactly as I desire, like a little queen. And it is here! This is my cloffice. I did not coin that term. It is a room that is a closet mixed with an office. Probably my favorite room in the house. And it is just originally a guest room, but I am a single gal and I own this home myself. And I said, why don't we turn this into my dream Carrie Bradshaw inspired closet? Because honestly, there's never enough space in a closet for shoes. And so that was where it started, but then it morphed into this big structure that is a shoe display, there's jewelry, there's drawers that hide a bunch of stuff. I have a vanity corner that has this beautiful terrazzo stone. I incorporated things like this beautiful library ladder, and it just allows me to have so much more storage. This room is just so beautiful, so magical. I feel like I didn't have to sacrifice any of my favorite things. But then there's my favorite element of this room. Let me give you a little surprise. I have a hidden closet. It's cluttered, but this is the hidden element that has people going absolutely insane online. It is honestly probably the #1 thing that shocks people the most and makes people fall in love with this space, and it is perfect. We can't have the fun without a little bit of work, so let me bring you to the office side of my cloffice. I have this marble desk, which I love. Again, texture. I mean, I just couldn't have just a plain wooden desk. I wanted something that had a little more razzle dazzle. But really and truly, I can't even talk about this side if I don't let you see the full mural. When you close the door, the mural is complete. Moroccan landscape. So yeah, I absolutely love having a workspace that is fun. It inspires creativity. I do get to sit and stare at all my beautiful shoes and clothes and fashion items. And I also pop open my French doors and I sit down and I work away. Isn't this just so cute? It feels fake, but I promise you I do a lot of work in this space. And now let me take you to the last and final space in this house. Come with me. All right, my lovelies, welcome to my garage. As a disclaimer, I'll say this is probably the most unnecessary moment in this house, but one day I saw this wallpaper online and I fell in love with it so much and I said, oh my God, what? I've wallpapered every room, like where on earth would I put it? And I walked in here and I said, well, why not? And so began the garage transformation. I don't know if you guys have seen Bear Paint, their color of the year is called Rumors, and it is the color that you see on the closet system behind me, which was actually upcycled from my previous apartment. Makes it look like a built-in, it gives it more of a luxury feel, it makes it look way more chic and just like puts the bow on it. And the last and final addition to the space was this flooring. And I thought, this is gonna be so classy with the wallpaper. So I knew I couldn't just put regular tiling into here because I still park my car in here. A nice multi-purpose room, parks the car, amazing storage, a nice little fitness corner. It all pulled together.
Hi, I'm Amber, and this is my renovation story. When I moved in, I knew that I wanted to change everything. So before the pandemic, I was in San Francisco. I was working in tech in the city, loved living there, but I was also a side hustling blogger slash content creator. My business, Blessed Little Bungalow, I started in 2016. It was really just a creative outlet. My blog, I talked about my own home and just decorating different rooms and so on. And eventually people started hiring me to help them with their own homes because I wanted to focus on making sure that people knew they could create the home they loved on a budget. And that's what I did in my own home, and I wanted to help other families do the same thing. So it was a side hustle that kind of became a part-time job in addition to my tech career. And then the world stopped and the pandemic happened. I lived in a 450 square foot apartment, and even though I had everything I needed, it was pretty isolating. And so returning to Atlanta was super exciting. I wanted to find an older home, one that didn't take too much elbow grease to make changes, but I was comfortable, demoing if needed and making some updates. But this house was one of a few new construction homes being built in Adair Park. Very quaint bungalows that looked like those that were already in the neighborhood. So to find a new construction home that had the craftsman style, the charm, still, it was very builder beige, so I knew I was gonna make changes, but I could make it my own. It was the perfect size for myself and my dog, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and knowing that it was like 5 minutes from everything was just icing on the cake. And yeah, purchased it from across the country. The movers came in San Francisco, packed everything up. 3 months after, I decided that I'm tired of living 2 lives. I have got this interior design business and brand growing over here. All the exciting things that were truly just started as a hobby and creative outlet. I decided, hey, let's take a leap of faith. And so it was go time. When I moved in, I knew that I wanted to change everything. I wanted to keep the craftsman style charm. I wanted to make sure the home still felt like it was Southern and in the South, but I wanted to take my mid-century modern love, my love for color and pattern and texture, and create something that reflected who I am. We are in my living room. When you walk through the front door, there is no entryway, there's no foyer. So I painted the walls this beautiful mauve-y, purplish wine color. It greets you as soon as you walk in. It feels warm and inviting. So my house is not quite 2-story. It's like 1.5, I guess, so because of my loft space. So because of that, I have about 20-foot ceilings in the living and dining. I wanted to paint the whole space, but I didn't want to make it feel too dark. And then obviously with the loft ceilings, it might have been more expensive. Well, it would have been more expensive and a little bit more labor to paint all the way up. So I went only up about 5 feet and a few inches. And it's just a very cool design feature. A lot of architectural detail added with just paint, but also gives the opportunity to divide the spaces. I could have done the entire main floor, but decided to just do it in the living and dining space to give it its own personality. Rugs are an amazing way to separate spaces when you have an open concept space. And so I did that with this rug. It's very comfortable shag rug for myself and my dog. And you can see like all the feet of the furniture in this space are on it. So it kind of creates its own zone, if you will. And then in the dining room, I did the same with a faux high rug underneath the table. I am obsessed with this table. You can bury me with this dining table. I love it so much. The base of it is just so beautiful, and it's its own piece of art. The chairs are very heavy, very comfortable, in this beautiful green velvet, and then brass on the back just for a little detail. The easiest way to update any home, I feel like, is with lighting. So this Sputnik light was not here. There was something much lower that was more traditional, and by swapping that out, it just gave the dining space its own little identity. So as you can see, a lot of changes, feels like a completely new space, but I didn't have to renovate my home to accomplish that. The kitchen was brown and beige. It was almost too brown. Like, I wasn't opposed to wooden cabinets, but these were almost too dark. They were like really blackish brown, and there was already limited light in the space. So I really wanted to make the kitchen feel brighter, more exciting. And my answer to that was a pop of color with the cabinets. One of the biggest changes besides the cabinetry in the kitchen are these new pendant lights. The pendant lights are, to me, like the earrings to go with the dress in the kitchen. And so the ones that were here before were kind of tiny, oil rub bronze, just not me. And so I took those away and added these fun pendant lights. They came in a smaller size, but I thought go big or go home, get the 15-inch. And it also gives a little vintage feel, like an ode to Atlanta and Waffle House. I just feel like it makes my kitchen island feel like a diner. I didn't have the dollars to do a full kitchen renovation, but I also didn't need to because it was a brand new kitchen, brand new appliances, and I wasn't mad at the footprint that was there. The kitchen is truly my little rainforest in my house. As you can see, I have a beautiful wall mural that has some of my favorite plants, birds of paradise, Monstera, and it's great to look at when I'm cooking. I'm really happy with how the kitchen came out and how colorful it is. My primary bedroom is my own little boutique hotel in my house. I wanted something moody, something that just concentrated on the bed itself. And so the first thing I did was paint the beige walls this beautiful navy blue. This king-size bed, I love the shape of the headboard. This beautiful chartreuse is a great contrast between this bed and the navy. And then when you look up, the first thing you see is this crazy, beautiful, bright pattern of that chartreuse, navy, and lavender that you see in the rest of the space. I just love the pattern, the pop of color, the excitement that it brings, and it just has its own personality. It was the perfect opportunity to make a small space feel grand. The Juju hat is made in West Africa, in Cameroon, and they are imported here into the US and dyed different colors. So I love this one that I picked out for the bedroom. I also have been to maybe about 30 different countries. So some of the destinations that are really dear to my heart, here's where I was in Luxor, Egypt. This is Positano, Italy, Kenya, Switzerland, Ghana, and Paris, because of course, if you love art, you have to have a picture of the Louvre. So I love traveling, and I wanted to kind of showcase some of my favorite travel memories in my bedroom. The last space in my house I want to show you is the upstairs loft. Come on. This is probably the most fun and exciting space in my entire house. It is the loft that I dedicated to my niece and nephews. After I moved in, upstairs became the storage space. I don't have a garage. I don't have a true large attic or basement space. And when my niece and nephews came to visit, honestly, Auntie's house was not very childproof. So I wanted to create a space for my niece and nephews to call their own. It is full of color, it's whimsical. I love the pattern that I added with the wallpaper. In talking with my wallpaper installer, Raphael was like, "Oh, this is gonna be a lot if we wallpaper everything," and there was no clear separation on this wall because it was open to the living room below. So we decided to just wallpaper along the bottom, and then in these cutouts where the windows are, we continue the wallpaper up. But I love, similar to downstairs, how it's just kind of halfway, so it doesn't feel too dark, too small, but also it's just a completely different identity than downstairs. And then I just created different zones for my niece and nephews to play. So there's a snack bar, there's arts and crafts, there's board games, there's a desk if they wanna be on their Switch or play or do homework. And then this sofa pulls out into a sleeper sofa for all the slumber parties. This is their house. I just pay the mortgage. When you look at my portfolio on blessedlittlebungalow.com or my Instagram, all you see are color, pattern, fun palettes, like just very funky and ornate gold mirrors, a lot of gallery walls, artwork, like a mix of what I say is my style, which is mid-century modern meets boho glam, and a Crayola box like thrown in there. I am so thrilled with the way my home turned out. It's super colorful, it's inviting for any guest that I have, and I just feel like it's a true reflection of me.
Hi, HGTV. I've been waiting on you. Come on in, let me show it all to you. I started my blog, Design Addict Mom, as a way to showcase my love for color. As the name suggests, I'm an addict. I really, really love color. And the spaces I design show that. This is the foyer. It gives you an idea of what to expect when you enter the rest of the house. These pieces are really sentimental to me. These are handmade in Jamaica. Growing up in Jamaica, there's color everywhere. The facade of homes, people's personality, just joyful and colorful. And I wanted that to reflect in our home. We constructed this home with a builder, so I was very involved with the process. For example, here is this big arch, which I love, but he had these two columns coming on either side, which I thought would be too much and too overwhelming for the space. So I had him take those out, which he reluctantly did, but I'm happy. But enough about that. Let's go on into the living room. I have been having some fun with color drenching. I love how color drenching the space actually highlights the architectural features. And here you'll see my favorite color on display, which is orange. I love how I'm actually using this orange couch as a neutral. Can you believe that? Orange as a neutral. Yes, in my home it is. I believe I have a natural knack of mixing colors and combining colors, and to be able to incorporate those colors into spaces seamlessly. This candle I've had since before I had children. Now, I told you before, I love orange. I took this to the paint store, color matched it for this beautiful bookcase. These doors are sliding doors. And for reference, I do not use this candle anymore. It's merely decorative. I love the sunroom. It's just a joy going in there. I start my day with a cup of coffee, and it's just a very serene and calming space. This is Glory, my fiddly fig, and she was given her name by one of my readers on Instagram. She actually has her own Instagram handle too. I like to decorate Glory because she's so glorious. Look at her, so beautiful. She thrives in this corner because she gets ample sunlight and she loves it here. She just sits and glows. The sunroom is my favorite space, but during the summer months, I love spending time out here. Look at this tropical oasis. I would love to show you one of my proudest DIY moments with this sconce I thrifted. I cut the cord and I found this remote control bulb, and I just love doing this part. Voila. I recently painted this space butter yellow because I've been yearning to have yellow and pink together. That's such a great combination. So my colors have like a shelf life, you know, they change every 3 years or so. Whenever friends come to visit, they're always making notes of the changes, and I feel sometimes they come to visit just to see what new change I've made. I would love to take you to what I call my me spot, our bedroom. I opted for a more subdued color, and since I already had this vibrant mural, look at all these delicious colors, I can always get my color fix on this side of the room. Believe it or not, every night I cover the TV before bed because I consulted with a feng shui expert and she told me that mirrored surfaces across from the bed is negative energy. I could not let you leave before showing you my Lego collection, something I'm so proud of and inspired by our daughter, Cheyenne, who is a Lego fanatic. I love it. Look at this. Growing up in Jamaica, there were spaces that were off limits. That was just for adults. I knew I did not want that in our home. Each space, though beautiful, is approachable. This is our playroom, and it gets the most beautiful light this time of day. We are not formal people, and this was originally our dining room. This space gets used much more as a result. I don't like to have unused spaces, and repurposing a space to fit your lifestyle and to fit your family's needs is always a great way to use your home. This is one of our favorite pieces. It's very child-friendly. I use it as an ottoman, but I love seeing how Shine uses it. It's just a great tool for her to express her creativity. And one more hidden gem to show you, commonly known as a clothes, but I would like to think that I started this trend since this was done in 2014. This is another great example of using or repurposing a space that was unused before. I like that I can be here working and the children are right there next to me in the playroom. It promotes family time. No space is safe from color here, and this dark staircase was a great opportunity to get vibrant and bold. And I also did this beautiful diverse gallery wall, which adds some depth and interest. And speaking of interest, I know you'll find Shine's room very interesting. Her room is an expression of her personality. She's very joyful. And she recently told me she has 3 favorite colors, and you're looking at one of them here, which is this pink. This is probably my favorite space in Shine's room. I love this wallpaper, and it was installed before she was born. Her crib was here. Recently, we refreshed the space because she's growing, and we placed this couch. It's been such a joy to watch how color has shaped her creativity. She's as joyful and as colorful as I am, and I love it. This was so much fun. I hope you're seeing colors.